when Hogan came out, it was deafening. I never heard anything like that before in my life.
Yeah.
I've been to concerts and stuff, but never like that.
Let's be best friends.
Hello, I'm Cole Sauer, and welcome to Let's Be Best Friends, a podcast where I talk to people that I barely know and try and convince them to be my new best friends, because in times like these, who needs enemies? My guest today is the king of Oshawa independent professional wrestling and the man behind Pro Wresting Eclipse, Dr. Mask. How are you doing today, buddy?
Good, sir. That's a very kind introduction.
I try. How's everything been with you with all this craziness going on?
I've had to work the whole time, no wrestling.
So what's your opinion on before we get into the show proper, I want to find out first and foremost, what's your opinion on the whole people still running shows while all this is going on?
I'm not aware of anyone's run a show right now. I heard of one show in the States where they did it in a parking lot and all the fans sat in their cars, but I haven't been able to set up that for myself.
In the cars?
Yeah. If you could do it at night with a couple of pickup trucks with high lights, it'd be great.
Actually, that would be kind of cool. Give it like a kind of a classic, like a rustic kind of thing going on. So, the beginning of the show, we always start off. Larry King always used to say that the 5 questions you have to answer in any interview are who, what, where, when, and why. And because I am a bad interviewer, I like getting them out of the way early. So,
Sure thing.
If you want to start with who, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I've been a wrestling fan for over 50 years. I used to watch Maple Leaf Gardens wrestling on TV twice every Saturday, and then we go to the shows at Maple Leaf Gardens. There hasn't ever been a venue better than Maple Leaf Gardens for me.
Agreed, 100%.
It was amazing. I mean, the Dome, the Scotiabank, the Legion, anywhere, you know.
Yeah, the Maple Leaf Gardens was the absolute best when restoring shows.
Yeah. The best atmosphere.
Yeah. So you've been a wrestling fan for 50 years, but so what how did you get into the industry at large? Because like I said, so you run your own promotion.
So someone else ran Oshawa before, and the longtime friend, I helped them out for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I got into selling masks, and I did well. And then I started running with other people. And then some people said, I don't need these other people, just do it yourself. Mm-hmm. We started out in Vaughan, and then I brought it home to Oshawa.
Okay, so you started in Vaughan.
Yeah.
With the same brand, same Pro Wresting Eclipse, or?
We ran Canadian Wrestling Revolution, I think it was called. Ooh. That's Frank Greco.
Nice. So
it lasted about a year or so.
Sorry?
It lasted about a year or so.
Oh, okay.
And then I brought a Pro Wresting Eclipse there, and then brought it home to Oshawa.
So when did you start promoting yourself? So you said you started doing masks, and we'll get back to that because I think that's really interesting. But when did you start the promoting?
Promoting was October 16th, and it'll be our 10th anniversary this year, so that makes 2009. Does that sound right?
2009, 2010 sound roundabouts?
Yeah.
Nice. So
yeah.
So for what? Maybe can you explain to the people a little bit about what it is? Because I feel like there's some people who don't know all the ins and outs of the wrestling business. So what is it that the promoter does?
You book the wrestlers. Mm-hmm. You have an idea what you want to happen. Mm-hmm. You hope you connect with the fans, and they come support you.
Mm-hmm. And so do you handle all the decision making, like when it comes to who's winning, who's losing, how they're doing it, or?
Pretty much, and then you're constantly filtering your wrestlers to see who fits with you. Mm-hmm. Some guys don't fit with you. Mm-hmm. Some guys fit in. Some wrestlers have been with me for years. Mm-hmm.
So you have like a pretty solid roster, and then you kind of bring people in to see who fits.
You rotate people in. Some people have to lose sometimes. Other people are booked out elsewhere. Mm-hmm.
What do you do if you have, like, say, a champion? Because obviously the independent scene's is pretty fluid, more so compared to the WWEs and AEWs of the world. So what do you do when you have someone who's your champion but is already booked somewhere else?
Well, I have to kind of book around my work schedule, the availability of the Legion, and availability of my top guys.
Right.
So it takes a bit of planning sometimes.
So would you say you found a bit of a groove of it now that you've been doing it for 10 plus years?
Oh, yeah. I know who to count for. I mean, I don't want to downplay any wrestlers, but there's wrestlers I can get on the day off if I have to.
Right.
They're not, they'll come in and work, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But your main guys, you got to book in advance.
Mm-hmm. So you said your first show was in Vaughan. Do you remember where exactly it was in Vaughan?
At the, what's it called? I can see it, the Vaughan Sportsplex. I'm not sure if it's still there. I can see the poster on my wall. So that's what I'm looking over for.
Oh, you still got the poster?
Oh yeah.
I love it. So that was the. Where was your first show you ever attended? You said Maple Leaf Gardens.
Maple Leaf Gardens, yeah. But the first independent show? First independent show,
Mm-hmm.
or the first wrestling show I ever saw was the Maple Leaf Gardens, Pampero Furpo versus the Sheik.
Ooh, very cool. Original Sheik, right?
Original Sheik at 400.
Very cool. So where was your first independent show? Do you remember?
At the Oshawa Legion. No, actually at the Durham College.
Oh, really? Represent.
Durham College, yeah.
Represent.
Yeah. I think it was a joint venture between a couple of promotions.
Very cool. So you said you started selling masks.
Yeah.
When did you start with that? When did you get into the indie scene?
I don't know, like 2004, 2005, something like that.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I just happened to pick up some in bulk, and someone bought them off me, and it just kept growing. There was days where I've had fantastic days selling masks. When Rey Mysterio was on TV every day, I had incredible mask sales.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
When Ray wasn't on TV as much, they plunged. Like Sin Cara didn't give me as many sales, or Nacho Libre didn't give me as many sales, or whoever else you can think of.
Yeah, I was just thinking that what had happened when Sin Cara showed up, because I know that there were kids buying the Sin Cara masks, but if you looked in the crowd, it's still,
but not like Ray.
Not like Ray.
And we used to go down to the Scotia Banks, sit in the park lot across the street. I'd open my trunk and we'd sell masks out of my trunk, and people would come up and go, no thanks, and they'd walk over to the WWE booth where they were $75. They would come back to my car and get 3 for $75.
Yeah.
And I still made money. There's one time at the exhibition, whatever it's called now, the Rico used to be called, I'm not sure what it's called now.
I think it's like the Coke Center now or something like that.
The Coke Center. I parked in a parking spot next to where you had to pay for your parking spots.
Mm-hmm.
I sold masks out of my trunk, and then I sold the parking spot to somebody. But the worst part was I didn't have enough masks. I sold out of masks too quickly.
Oh, man. I mean, that's a good thing. That's kind of a good thing, though, when you think about it, right? Like, it's, it's better to sell out than to not sell at all, right?
Yeah.
So what gets you started in? You said you bought a whole bunch of them in bulk. What gets you started in that? Because that's a very unique, I feel like, industry.
Just the whim. I always liked the masked wrestlers, and people bought them.
Yeah.
People. I had some a wrestler tell me once that wrestlers weren't mad at me; they're mad at themselves because they didn't think I would sell masks. And I did well. I mean, they would help pay for the shows, right?
Mm-hmm. So you were using the masks to pay for the shows.
Yeah.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
So how did you? So you said you were selling masks, and then you kind of started working with a buddy of yours. So take me through that process a little bit. How you go from selling masks to running a promotion.
I was helping the one promotion in Oshawa first, and then you meet people and you hook up and you connect, and they go, "We're going to do a show here." Or I can't remember everything. I sold other people's shows. And you just connect with someone, and you partner with somebody, and just make it happen.
Yeah.
And then what happened is I would drive to Vaughan to put up posters and talk to the venue and stuff. That was a 40-minute drive each way. I can drive from my house to the Legion in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I work a whole day and spend an hour and a half driving to and from Vaughan, or I can hit it on the way home from work. And, they're different.
Yeah. So you were part of the street team, basically, putting up the posters and those kinds of things.
Actually, I'm still in the street team.
Yeah.
Myself and my friend Josh, who's my biggest helper.
Yeah.
He helps with the ring. He does commentary for the matches. Then he writes up what happened, and we post them.
Oh yeah, so he's basically your right hand man then.
Most times, yeah.
Shout out to Josh.
Other people help too. I don't want to downplay, but Josh is a big help.
Is there anyone still selling masks at your shows, or?
Now and then people come in, but it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
Even when I've been around the Honky Tonk Man a few times, and he was selling masks, and he even said it dropped off for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's crazy the side hustles that some retired wrestlers will get. Like, who would have guessed that the Honky Tonk Man would be selling masks at an indie show?
He owns the name for the Patriot, and there's some sort of problem with that the guy who used to wrestle as a Patriot has to pay him image or something. But I don't know what all the legalities of it, though, but it's weird.
Interesting.
He bought the name or something.
That's just smart. Good old Honky, man. Thinker.
He's a lot of fun.
So I always ask why. I feel like why is a very nebulous question. So to kind of like boil it down a little bit, what is it about promoting that keeps you going,
well,
like doing these indie shows? On
the day of the events, as soon as I get up, my wrestling day starts.
Right.
There's always someone who missed a ride or needs a ride or going to be late or the ring's not going to make it or something. There's always something. Mm-hmm. So my day starts whenever I get up at 6 in the morning or 9 in the morning, whatever. My day starts doing wrestling.
Right.
It's a lot of work until I get the thing going. It takes a while for me to settle down. Usually the second match, things, everyone's there, start to roll. So everything has to roll.
Yeah. And
then when you hear the fans enjoying themselves and they're shaking my hand on the way out and posting afterwards, posters. I try to get everyone to post pictures and videos if they have them. Mm-hmm. Before, when we had a contract with Rogers, we weren't allowed to post any video, but now I let the fans post, and just as long as I know about it, so I can add it to the event.
Mm-hmm. Take me.
I've brought the loyal fans in Oshawa.
Yeah, it's so true. You see the same people every show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So take me through, I guess, a bit of the process of you. So you get the wrestlers, you get the ring, you get the commentators, you get the lights. Take me through kind of the beginning to end of getting a show set up.
Planning, like booking the wrestlers.
Yeah.
So myself and Jeremy Virtue will sometimes talk online. Sometimes the wrestlers will approach me and I'll go, I've heard about the wrestler, or I like the wrestler from a previous time I've seen them, and you just match them up with some other wrestler you want to see. And sometimes, say I'll bring someone from Quebec, they have someone who wants to ride with them. Mm-hmm. So then you just start working it. Sometimes the wrestlers have someone that they want to work. So you just make it happen. A lot of planning, a lot of juggling.
Yeah. So it's a lot of just connections.
Goes wrong. There's always something that changes. Some can't make it or gets injured. I mean, they get injured. I have a show on Sunday. They get injured on Saturday night. Not much I can do.
Yeah, for sure.
Pay somebody,
So, do you own the ring or do you rent it like from the same guy kind of thing?
I used to have my own ring. It was a lot of work for me to supervise the ring getting put together and run the show. So now I use my friend Roy in Kingston, who wrestles as Harley Davidson. Nice. And he brings the ring. And he's dependable. I don't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. Before we used rings from Toronto, they'd be coming on a Friday or Thursday night. They'd be stuck in traffic in Ajax.
Right.
They're in Ajax at 6. The show starts at 7. Mm-hmm. Well, Roy's coming from Kingston's opposite direction. So it's worked out for me most times.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Smart.
The traffic going east is horrible.
Yeah, sure, of course. Especially going like directly from the city to like anywhere in the GTA is horrendous.
Even the wrestlers would be stuck in traffic on like a Thursday or Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm.
So when do you have a day that you normally run shows? You said you kind of go around your work schedule.
I usually go around on Sundays. I usually get the Legion on that day. Mm-hmm. We have run Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights. Mm-hmm. What Friday afternoon once.
What day is the best? Do you think? Is it Sundays just because of the loyalty there, or?
Ricky Johnson is a famous Ontario wrestler, and he said once you have them locked in that they don't expect it on Sunday, you do it. We get a lot of kids. They have a show on a Friday night, and you start losing your audience at 8 o'clock or so.
Right.
Sundays worked out for me.
Yeah. So Sunday's kind of the day.
Yeah, but we could make other days, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, so you get the ring from Kingston, you get the wrestlers from all over the place, then you book the Legion. Do you own all the lights and the sets and stuff, or do you get that from someone as well?
We have an entranceway that lights up, an inflatable entranceway. We have other, just like party lights. Mm-hmm. years ago, the Legion had 4 pot lights around the ring, and you could light up the ring. They don't have those anymore, so we have to use fluorescent lights, and it's not as good as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
But we could get some mobile lights, but then it takes away room for the fans, and
right.
A lot of things you have to juggle. But Michael Logan taught me when the lights are off, the fans will make more noise. Like they'll scream. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So like when it's...
But lights are on, you can see who's yelling. They won't yell. If lights are off, they'll yell at you.
Oh.
Cole, you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's actually really interesting.
Mm.
I wouldn't have thought of that. So like that, if there's lights shining on them, they get like a little nervous. But if they know the wrestler can't really see them, then they'll just do whatever they want.
There was one time when Bernadette was in the audience, and I came out, and I had the mic, and her and Al were screaming so much, I couldn't hear myself, and I had the mic in my hands. I couldn't hear myself over the speakers.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
So we're gonna get into so we have a this is a debut match, right? This is basically a brand new match.
Yeah, it's been on there for a while now, but it's still low viewing. But we're gonna fix that with this podcast.
There you go. So take me through as we're getting set up here. Take me through kind of what's going on here. So we've got Tyler Turva and Tariq versus Liam Worldwide and Jeremy Prophet.
Yeah. So 12 years ago, Jeremy Prophet and Tyler Turva got an opportunity at the Scotiabank to wrestle.
Okay.
Tyler Turva has been with me for years.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first person he ever worked as a heel with. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy Prophet I've known for years too, and just didn't always work out that I could line things up.
Mm-hmm.
The original story wasn't what transpired. Something changed. I can't remember right now. So for the promo for this match, Tarek talked about that match 12 years ago. Then they went back and forth on who caused the loss and who was Batman, who was Robin.
Okay.
And they got in a disagreement. And then Tarek came out to help Turva against Jeremy, and then Liam came out to help Jeremy.
Okay.
So then it evolved into a main event tag team.
Okay. So that it's the classic, two guys arguing, more people get in, it turns into a tag team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do we get? Because there's titles on the line here.
So. No, I wasn't aware of this until my friend Gentleman Jeff announces. If Jeremy or Liam had won, they would win the belts.
Okay. So you weren't aware of it. So who made that call then? Was that like an on the fly thing?
Again, there was something that happened that we had to put it together at the last minute.
Okay.
And knowing all 4 rushes, I knew it would work. They would pull it together, and they did. All right. Just made it happen.
So you said you've known Tyler. You said you've known Tyler for a long time.
A long time. I would say, 2005 or so, maybe even earlier. Yeah.
What about the other guys? So Tyler, you got a big history with.
Tarek, maybe 5-6 years.
Okay.
Liam, a few years now. He lives local. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy from just met him years ago and ran into him a couple times.
Yeah. So I assume Tyler's someone you book pretty often, I assume.
Yeah.
Are these other guys also kind of regulars of the roster, or?
Well, Liam lives close by. Tarek lives close by, so that's good for me.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy lives in Montreal.
Ooh, okay.
Tyler lives in London. So I'm sure Jeremy came along with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it really is. The more you kind of dig into it, it really is the more that it just kind of works out. Like you put these plans in place. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, you get a show. Yeah, I had a wrestler break his ankle a week before the show, and he was apologizing. I'm like, well, this stuff happens, man. I'd rather hear the weekend ahead so I could plan something than find out the morning of. Yeah, exactly. That's just it. Because especially like. I don't know the inner workings of the wrestling scene as much, but like in terms of entertainment in general, there's like the 2 kinds of entertainers, right? Where the ones like the reliable will tell you like that, like a week in advance something goes wrong, and then there's the hour before the show, like, hey man, I can't make it. One time, Cody Deaner's wife was going to have a baby. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not coming. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. You can't do anything about that. Life comes first, right?
Life comes first.
Yeah.
I've never had any fans come up to me at the end of the match and when someone was announcing they didn't there, they've come up and asked what happened.
Yeah.
But they've never been disappointed. You know?
Yeah. And again, that's what's important. It's keeping the fans happy, right?
Yeah. Wrestling's all about the fans. Some people forget that.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's all about the performance, but it's all about the fans. How you react with the fans and how the fans react with you.
Okay. So we'll start up the match here. We've got it all synced up at 15 minutes. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. And
good.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yep.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about the dynamics going on here. So Tyler and Tariq, I have to assume, are heels here, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about how that kind of goes down, because different promotions, a lot of wrestlers work different kind of characters, right?
Yeah. No, that happens, but I developed my own little world here in Oshawa, and I really don't care what goes on. So if someone could, Saturday night could be a tag team together, and then Sunday morning they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
So.
How do you come around to those decisions, and how do you pitch it to the wrestlers? Like that, say two people are in a tag team for 4 or 5 years, but you need opponents for that night.
Yeah, a lot of times we just discuss them. You know, I can't remember the whole dynamic of why this came the way it is, but I knew when I had a problem, and I knew Jeremy that he would come through for me, and he did. Right? Like, I'm sorry, I can't remember how it led to this, but you know, happens when you get old.
Yeah. So while
most of them all know each other and they've worked each other before, and you have a sync with them, you know, good flow.
So again, I feel like it always comes back to, you know, you trust the performers to do a good job, and they do the good job. Show has to go on.
You have the opportunity to do what they want. I never say you're going to go punch this guy 3 times and do this.
Right.
I might say you're going to do this, and then you're going to say these words. So it sets up the next show. But
right.
I never tell them what the techniques to do or whatever. You know.
Yeah, you let the wrestlers do the wrestling, and you just kind of like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of feed them 1 or 2 things.
Yep.
So so you've been doing this for like 10 years. When do you think you kind of hit your stride in terms of knowing all of these things? Because I'm sure like none of this is inherent, right?
You're constantly learning stuff from the words that they use to express themselves, and you know, what happens in other places. You're constantly learning. You know.
So, talk to me about how. So have you ever been in the ring before, or have you just been strictly masked into promotion?
So I usually start the show off by introducing myself, the show, thanking everybody for coming. Years ago, I worked with Jeremy used to bring the ring, Eric Dawson.
Okay.
He used to work under a mask,
okay.
And he provided the ring. And he said, "Sean, I know you're a huge wrestling fan, but I can't use you. Because I can't use you as your ref because you're bigger than the wrestlers. You know, so I'm never in the ring with the wrestlers too often."
Okay.
Right? Is that on your end or mine?
So do you ever sit down with the wrestlers to put a match together? Like, I know you said that you kind of give them suggestions and let them do their thing, but
sometimes I strongly suggest what I want to happen because it's going to lead to the next show.
Okay.
Most time you just let them do their thing. And as the match is going on, if things are, the fans reacting, say someone's punching once, twice, and the fans are reacting, maybe they threw a 3rd and a 4th one in, right?
Yeah.
You know, they stop. Some wrestlers know enough to stop to interact with the fans.
You know. Do you have a kind of a stake in the game of? There's the big argument that always comes up between the more athletic, you know, flippy guys versus the traditional storytelling guys. Do you have like a stake in that?
We're gonna have a blend, eh?
Yeah.
Different things.
That's what I don't like about it.
Do you have like a preferred style to watch as a fan?
Well, I'll say this much: running my own promotion, my plate's full with wrestling. I don't watch much other wrestling on TV. I do sometimes watch them on YouTube, and I found Georgia's Championship Wrestling, which I used to watch. I don't know, in the '80s,
Right.
And I see a lot of similarities from what they're doing and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, a guy will come back wearing a mask, and the fans know who he is, but the referee doesn't know who he is, and I don't know who he is. But the wrestler he's fighting knows who it is, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It happens a lot in Georgia Championship Wrestling. There's still things I want to do, but it's just hard to get everyone to sync.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the mechanics of wrestling.
Okay.
The wrestlers do, but other people don't. Other people think that they're involved in wrestling. They don't understand. I had something happen between Diener and Tarek, where Tarek lost his shit on Diener about something. And I had a good friend of mine, Terry, driving with me a week later going, was that real? Is that part of the show? And I'm going, that's part of the show, man. He's like, you got me. I'm like, well, that's what I'm supposed to do, man.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the whole gig. It's wrestling.
If you knew that was going to happen, why would you come?
Yeah.
Right? It's adventure.
Exactly. So that was another question I was going to ask. So you said you don't watch a lot of wrestling on the side?
I watch on YouTube. I don't subscribe to anything. Maybe I should, because I think Vince has bought everything up. I could watch the stuff that I want to see. A lot of the newer wrestlers, I can't tell them apart.
Okay.
And then when we bring in old names, and that's the guys I remember, the Honky Tonk Man. And who else do I had in my car? AJ Styles, Abdul the Butcher, Kamala, who's probably the nicest guy you've ever met in your life.
I've heard that. I've heard that before.
You know, he called me up once just to give me a holler.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy in the wrestling business.
He was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Christopher Daniels, Raven. Can't remember who else. It'll come to me. Shark Boy. Shark Boy's a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's interesting that, you know, you're naming a lot of classic names and then AJ Styles shows up. I feel like that's a name that people don't necessarily think of as a classic wrestler, even though he's been in the business for forever.
Yeah, been forever. Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to work with him?
We had him on a show for a weekend. We had 3 shows: Oshawa, Hamilton, and Anime North.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh.
They used to do shows at Anime North, and they would some wrestlers would come up dressed as anime characters or comic book characters. I'm not sure they still do that.
I think I don't know if they still do. I know I went to see one of those shows with the Anime North show where they would dress up like that.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of fun.
Elmo used to do the Canadian Destroyer on people. That you can find on YouTube if you look.
Yeah. So while we're watching the match here on Let's Be Best Friends, we like to prove that common conversation starters that you see on the internet do in fact work. So this one is from our unofficial sponsor, ConversationStartersWorld.com, and it is what outdoor activity haven't you tried but you'd like to try?
Well, we ran a show outside one year in Canada in Oshawa, so I'd like to do that again. I was in contact with a trailer park in Port Perry, and on their Canada, they have 6,000 people.
Wow!
I'd love to do an outdoor show there. I was looking to find a venue. You can't run inside anymore right now.
Yeah.
No more than 10 fans at a time. So, a month ago it was 5 fans, and people were asking, or 5 people. People were asking me, "Are you going to run a show?" I'm like, "Well, there's 2 guys in the ring.
Yeah.
With a referee, that's 3. I got to be there. That's 4. If you want to pay the whole thing, we'll put on a show for you." But I looked. I was looking at a parking lot in Pickering to see if I could rent it out and run a show there in their parking lot, because the way their parking lot's designed, I could control the flow of the people coming and going. But they didn't take me seriously, and they never wrote me back. But there's a couple of venues in Oshawa that I like to run outside. I'm not saying nothing so no one else steals them, but it'd be epic. But I'd have to have lots of sponsors to help me pay for it, and it had to be a free show because it's outside where it is.
So, what are the different challenges between running inside and outside? So you said on Canada Day, which I think I went and saw that show, and you've been running inside for 10 years. So
yeah, it rained like a motherfucker. It only rained for like 10 minutes. If we just could have had that 10 minutes earlier in the day or after, but it didn't. And we had to speed up the car. Plus, be a 2-hour show, and we did an hour show, and the city told us that's enough.
Yeah.
There was lightning and stuff, and Rogers was filming. They weren't filming anymore, and so. Yeah. I would love to do that every year. When I wanted to do it again, the city said that parking lot's going to be under construction. I went down there the end of June. There was no construction. The following year, they told me again, the parking lot's going to be under construction. There was no construction going on, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe the city has to plan things then. But one year, it flooded down there, so maybe 1,000 yards from the lake, it was all flooded, so we couldn't run. And then this year is the COVID-19. So
yeah. So just a string of bad luck with that place. Specifically water-based, I noticed. Rain and flooding.
But you can find that video on YouTube too, and it looks epic because the lake's in the background.
Just the slow flooding.
Yeah.
So we got another question. This one's from gifts.com. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit.
Sure thing.
So the question is, what's your earliest memory? I want to know, what's your earliest wrestling memory specifically?
Watching Maple Leaf wrestling with my neighbor Bruce. We would I'd watch a show at 1, then me and him would watch again at 7, so I would know what's going to happen, and we would act what was on the screen.
Do you remember who your favorite was when you were a kid?
Jeez. I can't think right now. There was Tex McKenzie, the Haystack Calhoun.
Oh, we love Haystacks.
There was the Crusaders. Long time ago now, man. You're taxing my brain.
I'm trying to keep it sharp, Yeah.
Now and then I'll see an old wrestling magazine. I had an old wrestling magazine. There was Zulu. He was a black wrestler in the 60s. Huge, great body on him. I hadn't thought of that guy in years.
Yeah. So when
Original Love was one of my favorites.
Who was?
I was watching. There was the Love Brothers.
Okay.
Used to come in tie-dye. They weren't really brothers, but so they introduced the Love Brothers, and there was one person going, boo, and then Reginald Love grabbed the microphone and said, "Thanks, Mom." I met Reginald Love maybe 10, 15 years ago, and I told him that story. I believe Reginald's passed on.
Oh. Do you remember when you were a kid? Did you ever go up to like the front row and try and high five the wrestlers, boo them, and all that kind of stuff?
I remember Maple Leaf Gardens ran wrestling one night, and also ran wrestling at the Exhibition Coliseum, which is now the Coke Center.
Yeah.
And we went to that one, and me and my dad had ringside seats. Luis Martinez was fighting. What's his name? Can't think of his name. I can see him. Bull Curry, and Bull Curry came at me, and I took off like a fly. I can remember ringside seats. Was a couple of friends of mine. The first match was the Masked Superstar, and I would take his picture, and he stood for a second so I could pose. He could pose and I could take his picture.
Oh, nice.
The film didn't turn out. Another time, Roddie Piper came out, and he was barking at me, da da da, you people, whatever. And I took a picture, and someone behind him. This is old days when he had film still. And someone took a flash behind him, so Roddy's face was flashed out.
Oh.
I didn't know that at the time. And then and during the match, he came out all bloody.
Yeah.
And he looked staggering at me, and someone walked in front of me. So 30 years later, I met Roddie Piper at the Fan Expo, and I told him that story. And the picture was like, this picture was 30 years in the making.
Yeah.
Roddie Piper was a class act when I met him.
Yeah?
Yeah. I interacted with him for a while, and I talked about independent wrestling, and then I went back to my table. And when he had finished his day and he was beat, because people taking pictures with him all day, he had sunglasses because his eyes were tired, and he stopped at my table and said, "Nice to meet you."
Yeah.
Class act.
Yeah. That is like just the classic thing to do, because you think about it, he's Roddie Piper. He can pretty much do whatever he wants.
Yeah, man, and he did.
Yeah. Do you remember any other like the bigger names from Maple Leaf Gardens? Did you ever see Andre?
I seen Andre.
Yeah.
So at Maple Gardens, there used to be a ramp they used to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
So Andre comes out of the change room, and you're going, holy crap, look at the size of this guy. Then he gets on the ramp, you're like, oh my God. You know? One of the last times I saw Andre, he was tagging with Junkyard Dog.
Okay.
And I can't remember who they were fighting, but he was down, and he had to kind of prop himself up in the heels that he was fighting to get himself back up, and then he swung Junkyard Dog's chain around the ring, and that was it. But it was massive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. Obviously I never got to see it, but can't even imagine the scale.
One of my favorite matches at Maple Gardens was Hogan and Piper versus Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Adrian Adonis.
That's a show.
So they came out first, the heels.
Yeah.
And everyone's crapping on them, Benedict Arnold too, and all this stuff, and making fun of Adrian. And then Piper comes out by himself. Place goes nuts.
Yeah.
Piper fights him for a while by himself, and he's doing pretty good. And then he gets beat down, and they're beating him up. And then Hogan comes out, and the place goes, I've never heard anything like it.
Yeah.
Like I've been in the Skydome for wrestling, and Maple Gardens was louder.
Yeah.
For those 18,000 fans or whatever, louder. And Hogan came out to the thing, and then finally Piper, axed out there. Do you want me to tag Hogan? Do you want me to tag Hogan? And they tag Hogan in, and Hogan got up for a while, and then Adrian just beat the snot out of Hogan over and over. Backflip and backflip, and then finally the faces won. When Hogan came out, it was deafening. I never heard anything like that before in my life.
Yeah.
I've been to concerts and stuff, and never like that.
It was Hulkamania, right? Is this?
It was the peak of Hulkamania.
Yeah. So was that a WWF show that was at, or was that pre?
It must have been. It must have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it say Hulkamania. Because I know from what I've read, I know that Hogan was in like Toronto and Montreal and stuff before he went into WWF.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
But he wasn't, obviously he wasn't Hulkamania at that point.
It hadn't hit yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's it? And the face is triumphant.
There's still some time left in the match. So the boys, I think they've won. The announcers announced that they've won, but the referee, who looks like he's a little bit hurt.
So how do the bad guys sneak their way out of this one?
I think Liam hit the referee, so they end up getting disqualified. But they set up a match for the next show.
I love a good old fashioned technicality on a finish. Yeah. I love it.
A new heritage and a new PWE World Champion.
That's wrestling.
That is, and it's funny because I see people online will complain about stuff like that, and I'll be sitting there watching it. I'm like, no man, that's it. That's wrestling. The bad guys got to do screwy stuff.
I'll take heat when Cody Deaner was my champion and nobody was beating him, right? And Hogan's going to win, or he's my Hogan. Deaner's going to win again. And then when he didn't win, they're all looking at me. What happened? Like, you said it's predictable, so I changed it.
Yeah.
I changed. You said it was too predictable, so I changed what's going to happen. That's wrestling.
That's wrestling. Oh, there it is.
So wrestling fans in the ring, they will, they'll yell at Rob Rage, they'll yell at whoever I have in the ring, or whatever. But on the city street, they probably wouldn't talk to the guy. But when he's in the ring, they'll say that stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, especially a guy like Rob Rage, that dude's huge.
Yes.
I met him exactly once, and that dude is huge.
Great guy, nice guy. Even though he's a heel, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy, for sure.
He's always liking to work for me, and I said, sorry, Rob, I got a ladies match. The whole event's going to be ladies matches.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, I'll wear a wig. Just, put me in there. But we didn't do it. And things have happened great for him lately with the Dark Side of the Ring episode. So.
Oh, yeah, was he? I haven't got a chance to see the Dark Side of the Ring yet.
He's in there. Oh, you should. He's in there several times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure he plays Hogan, Macho, and Hawk anyways.
Oh, nice.
I'm not 100% sure on Macho, but I think he did.
Yeah.
He was a huge Hawk mark, so
yeah.
It was good for him to play that.
Here we go. The South Oshawa Streets fight. So there's the escalation, right? They have the normal match, and now we get into the gimmick match.
So we had South Oshawa Street Fight planned 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And about 2 blocks from the Legion, there was a computer store, and they had a camera in their window. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, some guy walked up and hit another guy in the head with a fucking wrench or something.
Jesus.
So and our match was like a week later, and I felt guilty promoting a South Oshawa Street Fight.
Yeah,
when that happened.
like that happens, yeah.
But if I could have got a hold of that video, I would have had one of my heels walk in front of the camera, and just edited it together. But didn't have that opportunity.
That's the most wrestling thing I've ever heard in my life.
And the thing when that guy got hit with a wrench or wherever he got hit with it, I can't remember, a pipe or something. There was a garbage man 30 feet from him, just doing his thing. Didn't even see it.
Yeah.
He got his flop in the middle of Simcoe Street.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, we've watched our match. Excellent match. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We have one question from social media. If anyone at home would like to get a question in on the podcast, you can do so. You can either comment below on the video that you're watching, or you can find me on any social media at OldKingCake. DMs are open. Tweet me, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you choose to do. And you can get your questions to the podcast. This one is, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a younger version of you?
Younger version of me? I tell this to a lot of people. Doesn't even involve wrestling. Keep your circle small.
Okay.
You have a few good friends that are watching your back at all times.
Mm-hmm. You
watch their back. Everybody wants to be part of you when you're successful. No one wants nothing to do with you when you're not successful.
I mean, yeah, that's just true.
No.
And I mean, I guess that's also indicative of the entertainment industry, right? Like, It's exactly that. You can be on top of the world one day, you got this huge circle of people, and then, I mean, that's what half of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes are about, basically.
Yeah.
So, I think we've had a good time. We're winding down. We're coming towards the end of our little show here, and it's time for my favorite part of the show. It's time for the lightning round. And the way that this works is I'm going to ask you this or that questions, and I want you to give me your answers as quick as possible with 1 minute on the clock.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I've got my clock here, and in 3, 2, 1, cookies or cake?
Both, baby.
Cats or dogs?
We have 2 dogs, but I've had cats before.
You gotta choose one, though. Are you a dog or cats?
We have 2 dogs right now, so dogs are big.
All right, cool. Pop music or rock music?
Rock.
All right. Stuffed animals or dolls?
Action figures aren't dolls, right?
Actually, I'll take it. I'll take it. Pancakes or waffles?
Oh, pancakes.
Hell yeah. Hot chocolate or coffee?
I don't drink coffee. Just hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate it is. Don't drink coffee, eh? Morning or evening?
Evening.
Evening. Text message or call?
Text message.
Okay. Library or museum?
I've been in more libraries.
Summer or winter?
I don't like the hot like it is now, and I don't like the cold. I'm a summer fall guy.
I love it. It's all right down fall. Okay. Our minute is up. An excellent round of the lightning round. I'm going to tabulate the score. While I do, tell the good people where they can find you on the internet. Tell them where they can find Pro Wresting Eclipse on the internet. This is your chance for a good old shout out. All
right. So the mask is at drmask@hotmail.com. I'm on Twitter as Dr. Mask. I'm on Facebook as Dr. Mask. The website is PWEclipse.ca. YouTube is PWEclipse.tv. Usually searching Dr. Mask brings up anything to do with me. Any mention of Pro Wrestling Eclipse, usually it gets my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Any mention of Dr. Mask gets my attention. That's about it.
Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, Dr. Mask, we've had a great time.
Yes,
I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to thank you by saying that the score that we have for you today is a grand total of 6 out of 10 in terms of answers that we agree on. And I think, A, passing grade, C's get degrees, and B, I think we've proven here that we have just become best friends.
Oh, sure thing.
So
thank you for your time. It took us a while to set this up with the COVID and everything going on, and
Yeah.
me not getting the video. But thank you for all the effort you put in for this.
hey, thanks. Like I said, thank you for being here. And I want to thank all of my best friends out there for listening to the show, however you listen to the show. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all those good algorithm-based things. Like I said, make sure you follow me at OldKingCake on every social media. Follow Dr. Mask, follow Pro Wresting Eclipse wherever you can find them, Facebook, Twitter. Can we get a shout-out for this lovely shirt that we've got here with Dr. Mask? We got
I bought this shirt off someone in Japan, and you could put your face on it. And I said, well, I'll put the logo on it, and I'll come out wearing it at the my next event, whenever that is, whenever this COVID crap finishes.
And
hoping soon.
And
hoping September, October.
And
You never know.
cannot wait for the next Pro Wrestling Eclipse show. I'm sure I'm going to be there. I hope a lot of you guys are there too. I want to take a second to give a special shout out to Isabel Wing for the intro to our podcast, Let's Be Best Friends, and Seth Feldman for the outro. And that, my friends, is all the time we have for today. So remember that your mom was your best friend at one point, so give her a call, and we'll see you guys next week.